Hello and welcome. You're watching Newscentre and I'm Parikshit Luthra. The United States has announced an overhaul of the lottery system for H-1B visas. The Department of Homeland Security will replace the long-standing system with a weighted selection model that prioritizes higher paid and higher skilled workers. The new change will take effect from February 27th and will apply to the FY27 H-1B cap registration season. The annual cap of 65,000 visas plus 20,000 for U.S. advanced degree holders remains unchanged. As per the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the random process was abused by employers seeking to import foreign workers at lower wages. The new selection process will favor applicants who strengthen America's competitiveness rather than undercutting domestic labor. Currently, around 70% of all H-1B visas are issued to entry-level and qualified wage workers, while only 30% of visas are issued to highly paid skilled workers. The US decision could significantly impact India's IT industry. Companies like Tata Consultancy Services, Infosys and Wipro and others that have benefited from the program will have to reorient hiring strategy. In a separate development, a US judge upheld the $100,000 fee to process H-1B visa applications. The US Chamber of Commerce, a lobby group that represents big tech companies, had challenged the fee announced in September. However, the judge ruled that the Trump administration's move is lawful. To decode these developments, we're now joined by Rohit Bhardwaj, country head, India, Henley and Partners, Naveen Chopra, chairman, NN Chopra Consultants, and Sukanya country head, India, for Davies and Associates. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Chopra, let me begin by asking you, many of the IT companies have already been reducing the number of people they have on H-1B visas. So when you speak to the IT industry, on the face of it, they will say that the impact of these changes in the US will be minimal. Having said that, if you had to give some advice to someone looking to move to the United States on an H-1B, how will the new weighted system actually work as opposed to the lottery system earlier? Which are the kind of roles where perhaps there is a greater chance for you to get an H-1B visa?
At the beginning and end of the day, the ball is squarely in the court of the United States companies, who are the ones who feel the talent crunch. It is an absolute misnomer to say that the Indians or Chinese or anybody else is taking away U.S. jobs, because if you look at the data, and everything these days is about data. The unemployment rate in the United States is very, very low, which points to the fact that there is near full employment of people. Now, if the United States has been bringing in people, it's been bringing in people because there are not enough local talent available. And somewhere down the track, in the not too distant future, this thing is going to blow up in their own faces, and I'm quite certain of that. I've seen 3 or 4 such movements in different countries across the world, and this is going to happen in the United States also. Also, the people seem to forget, or Trump seems to forget, that we are living in a borderless world. So what are U.S. companies going to do? They already have presence and branches in multiple countries across the world. So if they are not going to be able to bring in people, they are going to carry on their work, and they will simply shift that work to other country domains. So other country domains will benefit. And as far as the Indian techies are concerned, I think that the only thing that will happen is that they will be shifting the domain. So rather than going to the United States, they might be heading towards Ireland or towards England or towards Singapore or other countries where the United States organizations have got their presence at similar salaries. So I don't really think that this is going to have any real long-term impact on Indian IT workers or any other class of workers or students for that matter. And it's just a matter of another 3 years or 3 years and 2 months when Baba Trump is out. The next administration, I think, will be more sensible. And during his administration, he's going to feel the pinch himself. I'm quite certain of this.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to you, sir. Sukanya, if I were to ask you, and I'm reading reports of people who have come back to India to get their H-1B visa stamped or renewed, and suddenly they get a message that your appointment has been cancelled or deferred late into 2026 or 2027. Many are calling this a trap, whereby you are forced to come to India for a renewal, and the moment you land, your appointment is cancelled. How many such cases are you seeing almost on a daily basis? And is there any kind of recourse that such people have?
Right. So unfortunately, this has happened only after they have landed in the US. So typically, the law says if you have a valid extension petition, then you can stay in the US, meaning you need a visa to re-enter the United States. So they are in a position where it was planned many months ago when it was the holiday season. They'll come to India, get the passport stamped, and then travel back with the new validity. But what has now happened is their appointments have been cancelled and it has been rescheduled for mid of 2026 or late 2026, which means they are stranded in India, and we don't know how they will be, even whether they'll be allowed to work from India. And what it is, there is a lot of uncertainty upon their returning to the US. So some companies are, I've had a case where the client was called upon by their, one of the tech companies back to the US before his validity was expiring. It was a couple of days he had landed in the US, and he still had a validity of another week. So he had to immediately rush back to the US so that he can continue staying and working on his H-1B status. So it is very sad that a lot of people are in India, and some families are still in the US. Only the applicant is here. So, and then of course a lot of financial stuffs are also happening in terms of job, and there is a lot of uncertainty for their returning to the US.
Right. Rohit, are you also seeing this a lot when you speak to your clients? And what is your advice to people who have to return to India for visa renewals, visa stamping? What is the kind of advice you're giving them?
I just wanted to wish your viewers a Merry Christmas and a festive season and a Happy New Year. Well, I think, we are staying in a very unpredictable times at this moment. US, the last night upholding a certain judgment. Of course, the lobby which you mentioned would ideally look at and evaluate legal option. But I think broadly, the impact has been felt. In fact, today only in one of the channels, it might be your channel, where the stock of the major IT companies have actually fell a little bit today as well. I guess in terms of the for tech professionals, they now need to really rethink whether this is something which they want to evaluate, because as one of the speaker, the gentleman mentioned, I think one door which at one end it closes, the other door will actually open. We've seen EU companies, EU countries attracting and inviting more highly skilled entrepreneurs to kickstart their or enhance their innovation bit. But from a specific US standpoint, right now, we do anticipate a slight rise for the inquiries for the EB5, which is still pretty much active. In terms of the H-1B, of course, how the selection process will come into the existence and how that will impact employees will definitely, from the US standpoint, will be very, very selective. I mean, globally, the immigration policies are changing towards, I think it's pretty much a clear message that if you are evaluating, you need to be really, really high in terms of your skill. Again, in terms of the immigration changes, it's not just the US. We've also seen on Friday, Canada announcing that it is closing down their starter visa, which is the only direct pathway to permanent residency. So things are changing very rapidly in today's time. So people have to be really mindful and strategically when they're evaluating if the intention is to, look for opportunities for work, entrepreneurship outside. Having said that, right, we might see certain other changes in terms of the programs which is catering to the entrepreneurship and highly skilled in other jurisdictions as well.
Right. I'm going to come back to you, Rohit, but let me get in Mr. Chopra once again. Mr. Chopra, we're also seeing cases where applicants have returned to India for renewal or for their visa appointments. and this is also for new applicants, and suddenly you realize that your appointment was tomorrow, but it's been delayed by 6-7 months, or it's been delayed indefinitely. And this is because of the increased social media and online vetting of applicants that is now taking place. And the US State Department has clearly said that we'll take all the time that we need to vet such applications. What is your advice to students, to people looking to move abroad to the US on H-1B visas? Do they have any kind of recourse? Are you seeing a lot of cases where people are losing their jobs as a result? Where companies are saying, sorry, we had this timeline for you, but now that your visa appointment has been pushed by about a year, we can't take you any longer?
There would be companies saying that, because no company is going to wait for an individual for that period of time. And as far as advice to students and others who are looking at overseas institutions or jobs is concerned, our advice was and it will continue to be that keep your private views to yourselves amongst your social groups, physical social groups. What is the need of posting them to the whole world? I mean, I don't understand this phenomena. This is pardon my French, but it's a bit asinine. So while the world was moving into the free speech and freedom of thought frame, it was okay. But people should have seen this coming. Given the scenario, I would say take down all your posts as fast as you can. Do not discuss your personal political views or views related to other governments. It is none of your business. If you're sitting at a party and or over dinner, you're welcome to speak whatever you want. But what is the need of posting it on social media, for God's sake? Stop doing that. And take down all your posts as fast as you can. I think that that should be the primary criterion. And also, as far as if the US visa has been delayed by 6 months or a year, well, look at the glass half full or plus again, that if you have qualified for a US company, which is amongst the top end, corporate world companies, that itself is a qualification plus point for you to start looking for jobs in other domains, in other countries. I mean, Europe is really opening up. Germany is really opening up. Netherlands is opening up. There are skill shortages happening there, and they are now at the beginning of the cycle, which UK was a few years ago, or USA was a few years ago.
Absolutely. So there is a lot of uncertainty. Keep plans open, keep options open, even as you're applying to the US. I'll request all our guests to stay with us. We're taking a short break, but we continue with this discussion on the changes to the H-1B regime when we return. Welcome back. We are decoding the significance of the US overhaul of the H-1B lottery system. They've literally scrapped it, and now there will be a wage-based system where higher wages and higher skilled people will be given priority. Rohit Bhardwaj of Henley Partners, Naveen Chopra of NN Chopra Consultants, and Sukanya Raman of Davies and Associates are with us. Sukanya, if I were to ask you, if there are people who've come to India for, say, for example, visa renewals, and they had a legal appointment, they had a confirmation of appointment on their email or on the US Embassy page, and suddenly their appointments gets cancelled and they're completely stranded. They don't know whether they'll be able to go back, whether they'll be able to take up a job again in their companies, whether they'll have to quit their job. Do such individuals have a legal recourse? The Indian government, whenever we've asked them about changes to the H-1B regime, they say that we are concerned, we take this up, but remember, it is the sovereign right of a country to change visa rules. Having said that, do such affected individuals have any kind of legal right? Are you advising them to take legal measures?
So at the moment, we do not have any solution for that, unfortunately, legally, primarily because this is what the embassy and the consulates want to kind of verify each applicant's social media profile, right? That is why they are taking some time to evaluate that, and based that they want to do the renewal or stamping. So it is a wait and watch game for now, unfortunately, for people who are stranded in India. But I think this delay, what we are seeing, that is to mid of 2026 or later 2027, is going to change eventually once the officers are also used to this process of social media verification, is what we think is the only solution as we speak. But we don't know if things are going to get any better.
Right. Rohit, what is the average time that we are seeing for online social media vetting? For example, when it comes to student visas or H-1B visas, what is the average time for renewal that one is seeing?
I mean, it is taking time, and it's very difficult to estimate the exact timeline. But since, as our business in the last 2-3 years, we have also expanded our education advisory side of our business. What I would like to, comment about is that we are also seeing a lot of inquiries which are coming for, non-US in terms of the international education space, because this year also has been in a kind of a volatile, as we seeing a kind of rapid changes in certain policies in the Commonwealth and other nations as well.
Right. Mr. Chopra, if I were to ask you about a judgment by the US District Court, the District of Columbia, the court has upheld the US government and President Trump's decision to impose a $100,000 fee on new H-1B applicants. They said he's not exceeded his authority. This could be challenged further in the Supreme Court in the US. But having said that, do you feel there could be any changes to this process, or it could only get more complicated, and that would be your advice to your clients?
No, look, I mean, it's the U.S. Judgment is essentially saying that Trump and the government is within their rights to take the step that they've taken. There's nothing unlawful about it. Now, as far as appealing that is concerned, please understand, and if you're observing the U.S. scenario, you would know that there's a lot of opposition and growing opposition within the United States on Trump and Trump's policies. There is also, as I'm the violin I'm playing, which is that there's a little news item that is tucked away in today's paper, for example, saying that the U.S. economy has grown 4.3 or 4.7% or something like that. That's huge. For the United States economy to grow 4.3 or let's say 4.5%, it's a 30 trillion or 35 trillion economy. They've just added a trillion and a half to the economy. What's going to happen with that explosion? Where are the people going to come from to fuel that expansion and continue that momentum going? Artificial intelligence, yeah, sure. Artificial intelligence is going to take away some jobs and is going to make it more efficient. But artificial intelligence needs intelligent people to prompt to get the results. Till such time as artificial intelligence actually develops the neural circuits of the human brain and starts to become independent, humans are absolutely going to be essential to keep on developing artificial intelligence and everything else. Factories get automated, but you still have to design the product. You still have to design the technology. And with that kind of economic growth, if the US is starting to experience that kind of economic growth, I mean, this policy is going to collapse. I mean, I don't think that it takes genius to be able to assess or kind of look at that as a line of probability, because all you can talk is about lines of probability. Nothing is certain in today's world, if you know what I mean.
Right. And Mr. Chopra, one thing is clear, that there will be more legal challenges, but 2026 and immigration laws in the US will be full of uncertainty. And that's why, as all of you have pointed out, look at the brighter side. Look at places in Europe, in Canada for that matter, where you can move for education, where you can move for work purposes, and which are willing to open up their economies to Indian professionals. India and Russia have signed a migration mobility agreement, and possibly we will sign more such mobility agreements for skilled professionals with other nations as well. Thank you very much, Sukanya, Mr. Chopra and Rohit Bhardwaj for joining us on the program. That's all we had time for here on Newscentre. Goodbye and thanks for watching.